Finally, let's take a look at Short Run Comics Festival 2025, Seattle, Washington.
I haven't seen my underpants in weeks. No, I haven't seen my underpants in weeks. Oh, I haven't seen my underpants. I haven't seen my underpants. I haven't seen my underpants in weeks. Yahoo!
Hi everyone, it's Tom. It's FANzine Live, and it is a special Short Run Comics Festival recap video today. I am so freaking excited to share this with you and also to get it done. This has been weighing on me for just about 6-7 weeks now because Short Run was back on the 1st of November, and immediately following that I took a trip up into the Pacific Northwest with my son. We kind of combined together the whole notion of the Comics Festival trip and some college searching for him. So I had to do all that with him. I got back from the Pacific Northwest, immediately jumped into college and school life with my 3 kids and my wife and all the stuff that happens. And I haven't had a chance to do a darn thing. However, the kids are now into exam season, which gives me time to actually do other things like catch up. Now, as you can see around my office, I haven't entirely caught up because I got a lot of cleanup to do around here, but we can at least take a look at Short Run. Short Run was amazing. Like a lot of these videos seem to have gone, I end up spending so much time on the show floor actually working the table that I didn't get as much video as I wanted. So I'm going to splice together all the photos I can find, and I think some of them came from Bob Corby, but also I'm gonna put in my zine haul as well. I've broken that up into a few bits. So we'll go back and forth and it'll be fun. With that, let's get started. Well, it seems like a tradition for the con reports that I do a little hello from the balcony above the show. You can see this is quite a show at quite a venue here at the Seattle Design Center for Short Run 2025. I'm thrilled to be here with Steve Willis, Bruce Crislip, Bob Corby is around here from Space, and I'm getting a crash course in the Seattle zine scene really fast. Exciting stuff, and gosh, there's some great cartooning happening out here in the Pacific Northwest. I hope you can hear all of this. I didn't bring my mic today, so we're just gonna have to wing it, but very exciting. One of the things that I didn't expect, but probably should have, is that when you go to a show with Steve Willis, who really could be classified as a living legend in the world of zines and comics, especially in the Pacific Northwest, especially in Seattle and in the state of Washington, where he lives and where he's operated all his life. When you go and do that, you have a lot of people stop by to say hello. And so in many ways, it wasn't as much a standard table selling comics, though there was a lot of that. Trust me, there was a lot of that. What you really had was almost a receiving line of people whom you never would have expected showing up. Because Steve's roots in Seattle, Steve's roots in the Pacific Northwest run so deep. Case in point, and I wish I had a photo to prove this. Almost as soon as the show starts, this guy comes up. Keep in mind, I don't know these folks. I'm an Ohio guy. I used to live in Massachusetts when I was doing my zines. I don't know the Seattle people by face. So this guy shows up and he says, "Where's Steve?" And Steve had stepped away. Honestly, I don't remember what he was doing. So I said, I'm sorry, Steve's not here right now. Something I can help you with? He goes, "Well, I'm Peter Badge, and I'm looking for Steve." And I go, "Well, I'm sure he'll be right back in a few minutes." That is Peter Badge, the guy who did Hate for Fantagraphics and still is doing Hate for Fantagraphics. And he just came up looking for Steve. Steve's a freaking celebrity out there. And it's so cool. He apparently hadn't done a show in years. And so to be able to spend this with him was truly special. So let's take a look at some of the people who we ran into out in Seattle at Short Run. That's a pretty cool group of folks. A lot of neat people that we ran into out there. However, I gotta say, and I didn't take a picture because I didn't think it was appropriate, perhaps the most emotional moment of Short Run was when Michael Dower's daughter stopped by the table. For those who don't know, Steve, back in the 80s, was working very closely with Starhead Comics. Starhead was run by Michael Dowers, owned by Michael Dowers. And Dowers also worked for Fantagraphics, doing books like New Wave, of which Steve has a very significant role. Steve and Dowers were very close, and Dowers has since passed on. And so his daughter clearly hadn't seen Steve in a while. Steve hadn't seen her in a while. Steve was totally taken aback. Across the table, they shared memories. Steve apparently babysat for her, and she's a full-grown adult now. You could just tell they were sharing feelings with each other. It was a magical moment that I certainly won't forget, and I don't think Steve will either. The human element of a show like this really is driven home at that point. It was so neat to see them reunite after all these years. Pretty cool. Let's go take a look at some more comics. That's it, everyone. Short Run 2025 is over. It has been a whirlwind 7 hours of zine selling and contact making and all sorts of stuff. Took the last hour, went and filled up a bag, got all sorts of goodies there, and it was a heck of a show. So that's it for now. We will take a look at doing all of our short run zine reviews and looks later on. So until next time. I can't wrap this up without making mention of our little cadre of Comix folks that hung out at the Georgetown Inn for Short Run. Short Run was held at the Seattle Design Center in the Georgetown neighborhood of Seattle. And the Georgetown Inn is the closest thing to the Seattle Design Center. So those of us from out of town stayed there. That included Steve, who drove up from McCleary, but also it included Bruce Crislett from Cincinnati, but a man who has deep, deep, deep Seattle roots. And then, out of the blue, Bob Corby, also from the greater Columbus area. And we're all staying in the same hotel together. Now, I had my son with me, so I didn't get a chance to socialize with them quite as much because my son wanted to go and play tourist and he wanted to ride trains and, you know, the stuff that he likes to do. But I did get a chance to spend some time with all of them and Bruce's lovely wife as well. It was really kind of cool to be part of that group. And I have some gray hair here, but I gotta tell you, I was still the kid in this group. So it felt very much like the old 80s scene where all of these, you know, fantastic adults and me just tagging along for the ride. It was so neat. It was a great weekend. It was a great experience. I strongly suggest that if you ever get a chance to go to a show outside of your region, go. Because you'll pick up zines that you won't see around home. Meet people that you won't have had a chance to have met in person around your home. It, in many ways, going to Seattle for me was almost like my trip to Europe. It was almost like going on a World Zines trip, and this hall that I've got, this massive hall, really is like, it's the Pacific Northwest culture. The Fantagraphics culture, the underground comics culture, the stuff that they just don't have here in Columbus. It's so cool to see. And so I cannot recommend, get out, go see a show. You'll meet new people. They're not the same comics. They are nothing like the same comics. And it's just so much fun. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to close it out with some photos from there. I think I've got a photo of myself and Steve and Bruce and Bob. That's probably the best way to head it out. So thanks again, everybody, for watching. This has been FANzine Live. I'm Tom. Let me know your experiences at Zine Fests, at comics festivals. What was your favorite one? Which one would you recommend I go to next? I've got a couple on my mind, but love to hear what you think. So leave a comment if you're so inclined. And as always, like the video, subscribe to FANzine Live, and tell your friends, because this really is about a community, folks. The comics and zine making community is a real thing. And things like Short Run or Space coming up They all celebrate it. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Tom. I'll catch you next time.